What's up, guys? Episode 2 of looking at this awesome MP-32 Optimus Primal or Convoy figure from Takara Tomy. So this is just looking at the little tips and tricks about this figure to figure out things that you might need a little bit of help with if it's your first time using it. So I just want to make sure that everybody enjoys their toy and doesn't accidentally break them trying to figure some of these things out. The instructions are decent, but not amazing. So it's always helpful to get a little guide like this. So first off is the face plates. So you do have 3 face plates that you can swap out, and you might not want him to be in mid-conversation. You might want him to be in battle ready. So you have to come in here, and right here on the visor kind of section here, or like his eyebrows, you grab there and you pull out. So those slot right into the visor section and then pull out from there. So just pinching onto those and pulling them out is the key. And then you can take the new one and you can slide that in just like that. It's really easy to get those in. They push in nicely, and then there is just enough of a gap that if you've got some nails, you can just grab and release, go, push back in. Realizing how hard this is to show, but should be pretty easy. They do have light piping a little bit on them, but there isn't really a way for it to get lit up from the back or anything. So although it does have some minor light piping, you're not going to get those glowing eyes on this particular figure. So the next thing you might want to know about is, or you should know about, is dealing with the arm cannons. So the arm cannons are tucked away in these little sections here on the arms, and if you're trying to grab onto those, it is very difficult, especially with someone like me with such little fingernails, but pretty much anyone is going to have trouble getting this out. And the reason for that is that there's a little nub here on the bottom that not a lot of people realize, and if you press on that nub, it raises up this panel, and then you can lift the panel up and easily get access to the gun. So make sure when you're trying to get the gun, you flip it, push onto that little nub. That little nub will raise up the platform, and then you can easily grab on, pull out, and you've got your gun. So there we go. Don't wreck your nails and don't wreck the toy trying to grab onto that and pull it out. So of course, in gorilla mode, we do have those other face plates. So pulling the face forward is all you have to do to release that mechanism. And then you've got this red thing here, and you can take an angrier face and slot it in if you want him to be alarmed about something. So nice and easy to slot those face plates in. The only pain is just that you have to find somewhere to store all of these faces to make sure that you can get all of the looks that you want, but can swap it out and don't lose anything. In both forms, he has this little nub on his back. This flips up, and the purpose of this is to attach to some of the posing tools. So there's kind of posing racks, and you can slot them into here, and then he can be held up and do all sorts of kind of poses and no longer have to worry about instability. So that's the only purpose of this little thing, is to just hook onto those. Most part, you're going to be ignoring it unless you have some of those stands. All right, so for the transformation process, we're going to start from beast mode, as I think that's the more complicated to get it back into robot mode, and then we're going to take a couple of the robot mode moments that are a little bit tougher and look at those while we're going through. So to start it all off, you want to start with the legs. So we're coming down to the leg section, and these big panels fold forward, rotate, and then clip down. So these get rid of those big thighs. On each side. The next step, and this one always gets me, is you rotate over here, and you have to come into here and rotate these this way. So it always feels like they should rotate the other way, but you need to rotate them this way and clip them into that position before you can bring the leg forward, and then that will slot in underneath the little nub. After that, you can raise this up to complete the foot or the shins, and then you can flip the foot forward and flip the gorilla foot down, and you've got yourself a foot. So we're going to do that same thing on the other side rather quickly. Okay, so with the legs done, you flip the figure over and you put a little pressure here to release the stomach. I really recommend doing this and then flipping up the chest panel and folding it out. This helps a lot with the next step. Next step is to flip it over, open up these side panels, making sure that the arms are pushed forward so that those little sections are released there, and flip up this panel. At this point, a little bit of pressure down here will release the mechanism. It feels a little off, but I assure you that that works, and this whole mechanism opens up. So now the whole chest section and head section are opened up, which means that we can tilt forward the belly and rotate both the heads so that the monkey head or gorilla head goes into the bottom and our main head is up top. Keeping the panel high, you need to come into the belly and flip up this panel. It takes a little bit of work and it feels a little bit off doing so. Well, come on. So that does take quite a bit of effort to flip up, but once you do, you flip this up and you can rotate it and you can flip it back down and lock it into place. So that gives you the robot chest. So once this chest section is set up, we're going to have to hide away the gorilla chest. So you want to open up this section here by lifting it up and releasing it from here, and then it can tilt forward, at which point you can push the chest down into the cavity, and then this chest can come up and cover it. You want to make sure that the head is set up so that these slots here actually line up. You can have the head be a little bit too low, and then that won't actually line up. So once that's slotted in, you're good to go. With the back flap raised, you can rotate the hips to get a nice view of the regular pelvis, and then this section to get humanoid instead of gorilla, you push the hips backwards and then rotate forward. So this locks into place there, and now you've got the humanoid style pelvis area. The back is upside down right now, so you need to take it and rotate it so that it is in place. This is the next part that a lot of people mess up, and it's that you want to take this and rotate it this way, and then it gets stuck. The actual rotation is inwards, so you have to press a little bit through this, and it is stubborn. So you're gonna press until it pops out, and then you can rotate inwards, and then that gives you his little jetpack on his back. So then you can finally rotate this up, flip up the guns a little bit, and that allows you to clip in these segments into these little pegs. So those pegs there will allow you to slap that back together. Now the guns can stay down if you want, and you want the more neutral pose, or if you want, you can of course flip the guns up and have them ready. The hands of course stay the same, and you have that little mechanism there to pop up the cannons. So that is the transformation process from gorilla into humanoid. Let's look at a couple of the steps going backwards that'll give you a little bit of difficulty. Alright, so when heading in reverse, I've flipped around, I've reset up the backpack, I've flipped around the pelvis, and I've gotten to this point, and at this point, the chest piece has to come out, and it is a pain to get out. So you have to clip it in from the top here and lean it forward so that you can get a decent grip on it. And then once you have that grip on it, you can try and lift it out, but as I said, it is a pain to do. So it needs to come up, and then once that comes up, now you have the availability to do all of the head flips and things like that. So make sure you flip from the top and then you rotate it upwards so you can make sure that all those things flip in appropriately. Also, do not push the chest into place until you have successfully flipped this component back to gorilla mode, and you've lowered this down to the lower segment. If you don't do that first, the chest is going to get in the way, and you're not going to be able to easily clip that all back in together to lock up and get gorilla form. Everything else is pretty straightforward. You do everything from the first step in reverse, so flipping these up, rotating this upwards. So again, this is a tricky one. It rotates upwards. You need to make sure the leg is fully folded back before it will rotate up, and then that locks in. And everything else is gravy. You get that set up, flip the feet forward, and do the knees. And you got those high fat shins, or quads, huge quads. as a gorilla do. Flipping those down, flipping those out, and rotating out this. All right, so there we have our gorilla mode, nice and easy. Just a couple of steps that you have to watch out for. There's less steps watching out for going into gorilla mode than there is going back. A lot of the things just click together and make more sense going back to gorilla than they did going up to beast mode. So there is our transformation process for MP-32 Convoy Optimus Primal Masterpiece figure. If you liked what you saw here, please leave me a comment. Let me know how I did. Let me know what characters you want to see me do in the future. I would love to continue to do these, and I just love some support from the community in knowing what to do and knowing that you like these videos. So thank you so much. Peace out.